Hey guys, and happy Friday. Today is the day that the Umbrella Academy Season 2 drops on Netflix, and you guys can finally watch it. I cannot wait for the world to see this. It's so good. It's better than the first season, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think it's better than the first season. But I am here right now to discuss with you the differences between the Netflix series, Season 2, and Volume 2 of the Umbrella Academy comic book. You guys, it's so different. Like, this video, if I sat and explained every single difference, would be hours long. So I'm just going to touch on some of the key items. Hey, Tessa from Mama's Geeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. All right, now, first of all, if you haven't seen it yet and you want my review, you can check out that video. I do have a spoiler-free review. Also, if you have watched the Umbrella Academy Season 2, or you don't mind major spoilers, I do have an Umbrella Academy Season 2 ending explained video up as well for you. But right now, let's dive into the differences with the comic books. So first of all, one of the main things is that all of the characters do have superhero names, okay? That's what they are. They're superhero names in the comics, okay? Luther, the Space Boy, makes sense. Diego, the Kraken. Allison, the Rumor. Come on. Of course she's the Rumor. Klaus is the Seance. 5 is the Kid. Ben is the Horror. And Vanya is, you guessed it, the White Violin. All right, so that's their names in the comic books. They don't really have those names in the show, but of course they all make sense to everybody. But yeah, so there's some pretty crazy major differences. As you can tell, the name of this volume is called Dallas. And of course, in the Netflix series, everyone ends up in Dallas. At the very beginning, they go back to Dallas. They all get shot in Dallas throughout time. Not what happens in the comic books. Oh no, they live in the present. Eventually, they do make their way to Dallas because, of course, the major JFK part, that's huge. You know, 5's supposed to kill the JFK. The commission is like, hey, you didn't do it. You got to go back and you got to kill JFK. So they kind of go back to make sure that JFK dies. That's a major thing. So they end up in Dallas, but not everyone ends up in Dallas, number one. Just a handful of the kids do, and the way that they get there and what happens there is not even remotely similar to what happens in the series. Personally, I think I like how the series explained it better. I mean, it was able to give us a lot more character development and a lot of stuff like that. I did like that. It gives you more suspense and just a better story overall. But that's something I really love about the comics, is that the characters are the same and they're so similar and they're so comic book accurate, but then the plot is like not at all comic book accurate, which is great for a comic reader because I can go in and watch the show and have no clue what's going to be happening. So another major difference is that the commission is not called the commission, okay? It is called the Temps listen, I don't even know how to say it. I have to write it down. Temps Aeternalis. Temps Aeternalis. Anyway, they're basically the commission, but that's what they're called in the book. There really isn't a handler. There's the fish guy, but the handler's not really there. She's definitely not in this part, and that means there's no Lila, which is weird because I really love the handler and Lila storyline and the plot in Season 2. We don't have that in the comic books at all. It's crazy. So also, at this point, Vanya's not really in it. She's messed up. She's got amnesia. This whole crazy thing happened. Pretty much the same ending as Season 1, right, of the comic. But she's in bed, she's messed up, she doesn't know what's going on, she doesn't know who anyone is. Allison can't talk, okay? If you remember, she got her vocal cords literally slit by Vanya. Same thing happened in the comics. So she can't talk, she's writing everything down. But they're all together, the family's still all together. So that's kind of nuts. They tell her she will never speak again. Now, in the show, you see just after several months, eventually Allison does get her voice back. You know how she gets her voice back in the comics? She gets threatened by none other than, we'll call him the commission to make it easier for you guys. So basically they say, 5, you need to go back, make sure JFK dies. And then 5 says, well, why am I going to help you? And they say, well, we've got a gun to a pregnant woman's head in 19 whatever. She's about to give birth to you 3 days later. 5's like, ah, crap, I'm not going to exist. Because, you know, the commission can go through time very easily. He's like, well, I'm not going to exist if I don't go do this. Fine. Then they threaten Allison and they say, hey, you're going to go too. We're also going to give you surgery to fix your vocal cords because we need you as part of this mission too. She says, why would I help you? And they say, well, are you guys ready for this? This is a major bomb that could still still be dropped in season 3. No pun intended. I really do hope it is, they say, because she is pregnant with twins. Now, keep in mind, in the comics, they are all white. There is no race differences between any of the family members. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I mean, Allison is Five's sister? That's crazy. It's something I never saw coming. So we go to Dallas. They need JFK to die. Guess how he dies? None other than pretty little Allison sitting next to JFK and goes, Mr. President, I heard a rumor that the back of your head exploded. What? That's crazy. Okay? That's absolutely crazy. Allison is a major part of this. She is the reason. I mean, it's not Vanya like in season 2. It's all stuff around Vanya again. Vanya's barely in the comic books for this volume 2. She's not there. She's laying in bed with amnesia, not even knowing what's going on. So we don't get that storyline of her with Sissy or Harlan, any of that. And Allison is a major, major part of JFK's death, which is crazy. Luther is ticked off. He's so mad. He's like, why would you even do that when she comes back? Well, guess why? Because Luther is Five's brother. She was saving Luther. What? Can you imagine if they have Luther and Five be biological siblings? I will be so excited. So I would love to see that in season 3. Fingers crossed they work that in some way. That would be really super cool. I would be a huge fan of it. But lots of other things, like Ben isn't in this. Like Klaus doesn't really see Ben. That doesn't happen. So of course he's not getting possessed by him. Hazel and ChaCha are actually only in volume 2. Five has talked briefly about how, he was the best assassin with the commission. Of course he was the best assassin. But ChaCha and Hazel were probably the craziest and the bloodiest. And of course the commission sends them after Five. Before they can find Five, brings him in, and he actually they kill ChaCha and Hazel, who are both male, actually kill Klaus and Luther. Luther's body is just mechanical, basically. I mean, he's not like a human completely anymore. So he has like a mechanical ape body. So they just really had to reboot his system. He was fine. Klaus can just bring himself back to life because like that's what he can do, I guess. I don't know. His powers are a little crazy and a little different. He's super goth in the comics. He's not as flamboyant and fun as we get him in the show, unfortunately. But wah wah. He's my favorite character in the show, but he's still a good character in the comics. I think in the comics, Five is my favorite character. But yeah, so anyways, Hazel and ChaCha are like that, and then Five goes in and they just kill Hazel and ChaCha. So Hazel and ChaCha, very small role, only in volume 2. We never get the storyline of Hazel, who's actually ChaCha. They're flip-flopped in the comics, even though they're both male. It's weird. We know that they're flip-flopped because of their masks. So we don't get, Hazel falling in love with the donut clerk or any of that fun stuff, which I really did enjoy seeing in the series. Again, I love how they take stuff from the comics and just completely elaborate on it. It is the same writer, the guy from My Chemical Romance, Jerry Way. So, I think it's great because he feels like he can take those characters and expand them to new depths with Netflix and on screen, and still have a totally different thing going on in the comics, which I love. So yeah, there's tons of differences. Like I said, they're barely in the 1960s. Allison gets her voice back in a totally different way. Luther and Five are literally biological siblings. There's no Handler. There's no Lila. Like, this whole thing is nuts. Vanya's barely even in it. So it is completely different, yet the characters are so comic book accurate, almost. It's crazy. I love what they're doing. I'm here for it. You guys let me know what you think. If you've read the comics and watched the show, or if you haven't read the comics and you have any questions for me, let me know down below in the comments. I'm sure there's some things I missed out on. Like I said, there's tons and tons of differences. This is just a few that I wanted to point out to you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. You don't want to miss out on more videos like this. And you can always follow me over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Mama's Geeky over there. MAMASGEEKOI. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys.